Hi there, this is the Painter 12 program, a new version, like it very much, a big improvement on Painter 11. I'll just take you through my setup and I'll show you a few bits and pieces. Over here we have my custom palette, which contains my brushes, a number of commands, and some extra brushes which I've added in the last week or so, which I quite like. And a small selection of brushes up here, also new brushes I started using just to try new things out. Anyway, so I'll just open up a new folder, just an A4 one, just to show you how the brushes work and which brushes I tend to use the most. One of the first brushes I use is a simple water, very versatile brush, very useful early on in the job to give you big colour washes, but also a very versatile brush in providing colour modification, glazing, and all sorts of things. That's a very dark colour, but basically a very simple broad brush, low on processing power, works very well. A couple more watercolour brushes here. We have some scratchboard tools which I like using for detail. This has got quite a low opacity, but using this fine detail allows you to add all sorts of extra texture and pattern, etc. We have a barbed wire brush, which is very good for metal texture. One of my favourite brushes, which is used the most, is the opaque acrylic. Can get a nice grain. It's also just very good for general painting. We have underneath here we have a couple of camel brushes, pattern chalk, which is very good for doing chains and repeating patterns, etc. One of my favourite brushes is the Airbrush coarse spray, which is terrific for adding texture, like a bit like a toothbrush or an airbrush which is a bit defective. Something I used to use a lot in my traditional work. And then if you can then paint in using acrylic to ease some of that texture back. Lovely brush. We have some glow brushes here. One of these glow brushes is a Sumi glow, which, apart from the usual glow which is given with Painter, this is one which allows you to create a rough glow effect, which is rather than the airbrush effect which the glow gives you. When it loads up. Is he going to do it? Let's find a nice orange colour. So as you can see, it gives some texture to the glow. Let me just zoom in a minute. Other brushes are some custom brushes here. Actually up here we have some diffusers. We have a diffuser 2, which basically blurs and adds a sort of watercolor effect to the work you're doing. Very useful brush. We have the grainy water, which is a little bit more brutal, but very good for blending. We have a couple of custom brushes which I've created. A rust brush, which allows me to, when it's loaded, creates a rust texture. Next to it we got a cloud. Quite processor intensive and